Bring this into the laundry room, see? Whoa, you scared me. The door doesn't even open all the way. Oh, it smells so good in here. I would literally fuck the smell in my house right now. That's how good it smells. Triple action agitator. Now it opens easy, I don't know.
Dude, this is a cool fucking washing machine. It has 4 different dials and the, like, it's got so many, it's probably got like 65 settings. It's pretty freaking cool. Charger for my watch. I also need to plug in this wireless charger and see if it actually works. Whoa, whoa, whoa! Just rub away undo it from this charging. Not working on my phone. Mimo, I'm trying to look at this. Is there like an on switch? Mike, you put your butthole right on the phone. I don't know if this works or not. It seems like there's a light here, but the light doesn't seem to be lighting. This will go back and we'll worry about this later. Aw, thanks, Matt. I better be. Considering I was the first trans woman to have a vaginal birth through my neo-vagina, I had better be your fucking favorite. That was a lot of work. And a lot of hundreds of thousands of dollars were spent creating this new vagina for me. And I had to, don't tell anyone I said this, but we had to murder the woman who we stole the uterus from. I mean, if I get caught for that, you know what I'm saying? So like I had to put quite a great risk to deliver the goods to you. So the least you could do. The least. Thanks, Jimbo. All right, now that these dishes are dry, how did that not get washed away? Need to go upstairs and get my watch so I can charge my tablet. Money, no, don't step on my... No. Bruh. 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 Turn on my hotspot. Hotspot. Engaged. Excuse me, bitch.
Wanted views and you suck. I still don't know what to do about him, so no, I wasn't lying. I keep doing real things to do that obsess over people I don't like.
But anyways, let's move on, because now Freya's channel has amassed over 100,000 subscribers. Behind the scenes, both Freya and her mother Karen, an openly racist helicopter mom who loves her despite not being from or living in America, proved below.
Living in America.
Life. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really get how this one went straight past from not only just the source, but also variety. Because my big thing is that people are not always gonna agree with their parents, like politically, morally, socially, unless Freya was directly defending the things her mom was saying. I'm not sure how we're gonna hold Freya accountable for her mom's actions. Now, Freya was broken up with guy number one. Freya's mom has in touch with him and quietly harassed his new girl online.
I was provided a screenshot of none other than mom and dad's Karen harassing her online, leaving this lovely comment on one of her
seen it and experienced it for myself. Apparently I'm not the only one she's done this to. She's even backlashed at someone for simply disagreeing, and she picked a fight with them, calling them a narcissist for simply stating their opinion.
But we're not reading all that. So here's the cliff notes.
She is known to do this behind her daughter's back without Freya's knowledge. She'll literally pick a fight with you for no reason. I got stalked and harassed by her mother, and she played with my emotions, played me like a fool. I got blackmailed and blacklisted for it. Her mom made many lives a living hell, including mine.
Again, it's just funny because Riley is able to provide direct evidence that Freya's mom is a Trump supporter, whereas all of the stuff that actually has to do with Freya, in this context, there's only word of mouth. Anyway, let's move on to discussion of Freya's pet. So amongst her travels, Freya had lived in Germany. While there, she finally settled down, she got married to a guy named Two and got some pets. Riley's argument was that Freya moved Riley, aren't we trying to emphasize the idea that Freya did not care enough about her animals to take them home? And then she reads this genuinely heartbreaking post from Freya about losing the cat? Because even if we didn't know about the heart murmur at the time, it's like, Freya made an obituary about the cat. She cared enough to make an Instagram post a year after moving.
I do understand where some of the criticism is coming from regarding her prioritizing moving her clothes and knickknacks and whatnot over retrieving her pets. I'm sure many animal lovers would have a problem with that, and I do understand why. I'm not trying to say that Freya is a horrible person. I'm just saying that, like with the live stream wedding fundraiser, I do think it was a kind of shitty and selfish choice. And I think it's unfortunate that Moon Moon died having been away from and abandoned by her owner for over a year.
I mean, the thing is, if that's exactly what happened and there was proof of it, then yeah, I would be on Riley's side. But the source, I think, has this bigger overarching issue with Freya's history of fundraising in general.
With the online following that Freya had alongside the internet's general love of cats, keeping Moon Moon would have been a basis for a justified fundraiser, at least from someone notoriously comfortable asking strangers online and personal favors for money, if she prioritized him.
The source is like, oh, okay, Freya, so you're willing to ask for donations for you to travel and for a wedding, but you're not willing to ask for money for, like, your cat to come home with its owner? The only way, though, that we can say that the source is correct is that if we had proof that it wouldn't have been distressing for the pet to come home back to New Zealand, and that Freya could have taken the cat home with not a problem, she just didn't want to. I'll get another pet in New Zealand, who cares? I always thought living in New Zealand would be so cool, and it is so beautiful in New Zealand. I've never been, obviously, but I realized, like, if you live in New Zealand, you want to travel to Europe, you gotta go all the way, like, across the world, though. So I don't know, let me know if you live in New Zealand how that goes. But this is one of those moments where you can see the difference between Riley and the source that Riley is using. Because the source seems completely convinced. Freya abandoned the cat, end of discussion. Meanwhile, Riley is like,
Perhaps I'm missing something here, I honestly don't know. I want to give her the benefit of the doubt, but it's just hard for me to understand this choice.
Riley plays a clip from Freya and uses it as a segue to expose Freya's mom as MAGA.
Are we shocked that Karen is a conservative Trump supporter? I don't think so. I don't think any of us are shocked whatsoever. Let me show you some lovely posts from dear old Karen.
Then she shows these screenshots from Freya's mom's Facebook. Mexico import tariffs. 10% in July, 15% in August, 20% in September, 25% in October. And just like that, Mexico paid for the wall.
Ha ha ha. Hilarious, Karen. And all while representing her goth daughter, too.
I'm probably going to hell for this. Guide dog for a Muslim woman. It's called a barca.
Now you might be thinking, well, Riley, this is obviously wrong, but it's not like Freya said these things herself, so how do you even know that she agrees with this? Well, you're right, I don't know.
That is correct, Riley. You don't know. I'm sorry, I'm just so proud. We are all learning. Just kidding, she's gonna go on to show us this video that she thinks could possibly prove that they do have similar viewpoints.
She does ever so slightly touch on political issues after the mosque shootings that have taken place in her country.
Previous year, you're asking about the mosque shooting. And it's a funny time because New Zealand never has things like that happen. Like, this is the first time. Yet the weird time because, like, everybody's really on edge. What's the only thing really bothered me about it is everybody trying to blame other things, like saying, oh, it's Trump's fault, or it's Theresa May's fault, or it's the fault of the Gun Party was part of, or it's the fault of this, or that. Like, it's the fault of the guy who did it. That's what I think.
Personally, I think this clip leans more conservative than liberal. I think a lot of liberals might say that the shooter is responsible, but we can also talk about what radicalized him. But even then, I'm not personally looking at this one clip and I'm going, Freya thinking she's successfully conned everyone into thinking she's not a conservative.
I got you now.
Freya, this is confirmed she's MAGA. I just feel like the plan here was not to really fully understand Freya's political opinions, but rather to prove she has the same political opinions as her mother. Because this clip is very much, guys, I found this thing and you're gonna have to work with me here. Because if this is the strongest example that we could bring to the table, I'm not like blown away right now. Anyways, then Riley moves on to talking about some of the MAGA stuff that Freya's mom, Karen, had been posting on Facebook. At most, I can entertain that it is possible that Freya's mom went back and forth, flip-flopped between being a supportive mother and being hateful. But obviously, we don't have any evidence for that presented today.
But this was also around the same time as the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement, and there's some controversy with Freya regarding that too.
Alright, you guys, I'm ready for this groundbreaking evidence that's gonna tie everything together. Here's what the source said. Basically, Freya was having an online feud with someone called Violet Vixen. The barely archived, to my knowledge, drama with another online personality named Violet Vixen, after staying silent about fast fashion brands like Killstar and Dolls Kill that she works with being canceled for racism, leading to debate over whether Freya refusing to publicly say Black Lives Matter is racist. Freya claimed that she was being harassed and publicly called out by Violet, who responded by posting screenshots to her now defunct Instagram story, which I would have shared if I could. This is a hard one because even the source admits that a lot of this is not well archived. In fact, they literally encouraged Riley here to do more research. It would definitely be worthwhile to investigate the allegations of Freya being just as racist as her mother, which would make talking to Violet Vixen, who figured out that Freya refused to say Black Lives Matter, was accused of bullying for calling her on that, and getting her story a wise option to consider, which is usually not something you're gonna hear if the source had already had this mountain of evidence available to them. I did manage to find this Instagram post from January of 2026, where Freya is wearing her own Killstar collection. Now, Killstar has had controversies throughout the years, and a lot of alt-goth people choose not to support them. They've had stuff like design theft allegations, fast fashion criticisms. But then I looked into the racism angle, and I couldn't find anything that seemed remotely comparable to the backlash that Dolls Kill got. And the thing is, as for Dolls Kill, I couldn't find any recent photos at all of Freya wearing it. Maybe they were deleted. You know, I can't say. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe they're sitting on page 47 of Google somewhere. I don't know. So I was able to find her wearing Dolls Kill, but this was before the major racism controversies in June of 2020. What I do know is that around 2019 to 2020, Dolls Kill was being absolutely cooked online over cultural appropriation, tone-deaf products, and its response to BLM-related criticism.
Remember when Dolls Kill sold a Native American headdress as a costume? Also, remember all the millions of other horrible shit that they've been in?
Remember all of the clothing designs that they stole from small businesses? Remember they sold a shirt that said "Dead Girls Can't Say No"? Remember when they sold a shirt that said "Goth is White"? And remember when the owner posted in the height of the Black Lives Matter movement in support of the police? If you remember any of those and you're still accepting free clothing from Dolls Kill or promoting Dolls Kill, shame.
Because of that,
Okay.
alternative people are no
Now
longer.
that my floor is clean, I'm gonna be able
So the
to
argument here
relax
is
a little bit.
this. Freya allegedly wore brands that were problematic around the height of the BLM movement. She didn't say Black Lives Matter. Therefore, she probably has similar political beliefs to her mom. Now, my issue is, though, the evidence we're working here with is, Freya didn't make a
Sure wish I didn't have such a
public
flat
statement.
fucking
We share
head.
information on its own, even if you say, like, no, that's bad. It does
Headbands
not
cannot stay on my
automatically
head
tell
for
me
any reason
all of
whatsoever.
Freya's beliefs, but
So annoying.
let's do a little cheat sheet and check out Freya's response.
Drama with another online personality named Violet Vixen, and my source is claiming that Freya was refusing to just say Black Lives Matter. If we assume that Violet was just trying to educate her and Freya claimed that she was being harassed and publicly called out by Violet, Freya looks at criticism as harassment.
I do not look at criticism as harassment. I look at bullying as bullying, and this random chick was bullying me.
She says the issue I was having was with this person specifically, Violet. According to Freya, this person named Violet had been harassing her and bullying her, and so yeah, she didn't really want to engage with her. Freya even said that fake screenshots were made in an attempt to make her look racist.
She couldn't find proof that I'd actually said or done anything racist, so she had to make something up. I know I screenshotted the conversation. God knows where that is now. It was 5 years ago. I've been looking for it. I scrolled through over 5 years of Instagram messages to find that conversation. She's long gone, so it looks like this now.
Now, like, you know, I'm not gonna say Freya is always right. I'm just saying you can believe Freya or not believe Freya. I'm just saying that these are very different explanations. One is that, well, Freya didn't support BLM because she secretly agrees with everything her MAGA mom says. And the other one is like, well, Freya didn't really want to engage a lot with this person because they were harassing her. Riley had a pretty good plan, in my opinion. She was like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to Violet Vixen herself.
I have yet to be able to get in touch with Violet Vixen to get more context on this.
The only problem with that is, even if she had gotten a hold of her, I think Violet's opinion might be a little swayed, because when you had a disagreement with someone, chances are, if you still don't have good chemistry, you won't see them in the best light even now. But that never became a problem because Violet never responded. So instead, Riley decides to show screenshots of Freya calling Violet a bully, which is actually the same thing that Freya said about Violet in her response video.
That Violet Vixen, right, putting an end to this. Violet Vixen has a hobby of bullying and harassing me online, and it's generally my policy to ignore bullies. According to this logic, I'm white, therefore my opinion doesn't matter anyway. And racist or bullies will get blocked because that kind of behavior is not welcome here. Freya says, can confirm this person's attitude is pretty toxic. Despite my messaging her personally, she is extremely unreasonable and saying horrible for no reason. Had to delete some comments yesterday as too many people were getting upset. Person replies, all she's asking is that you speak up about this issue and learn why it's dangerous to stay silent. She even discussed on her story that she doesn't want to cancel you. She simply wants you to realize why staying silent is wrong and what it says to her and other Black and brown people. She's now, by the look of it, creating fake proof of how I am. Be assured I support human rights issues and well-being of all people, but I cannot abide by hurtful behavior.
If you take a look at these screenshots, I don't want to tell you how to interpret them, but I wouldn't say that they prove without a shadow of a doubt that Freya doesn't think Black Lives Matter. It does, however, prove that Freya believes Violet was bullying and harassing her. And the source did admit that it is barely archived. Freya says she supported Black Lives Matter, and the issue she had was with Violet specifically. Like, if we're gonna make serious claims like this, I would really love one screenshot where Freya is actually expressing those views. Instead, Riley is showing screenshots where Freya's saying stuff like, I support human rights and the well-being of all people. Now, I think it's fair to criticize that response if you think it's vague, but I also wouldn't confidently reverse engineer someone's entire political ideology from it. Then Riley moves on. She's like, it's time to talk about Freya's parenting. Riley starts us off by playing a video from when Freya was pregnant with her first, saying that life doesn't need to stop just because she's having a kid.
I think I've been feeling online a lot. It's like, you know how in a non-COVID full world, I like to travel a lot, I like to go to festivals, I like to do travel blocks and go on beaches, and I have every intention of continuing to do that. Life doesn't stop when you have children. Through experience, it might be a lot more challenging, but I'm not going to stop living or doing this I really enjoy. But also, the child gets to have a potentially very exciting life.
Remember this line. Life isn't going to stop for her because she's having a child. It seems innocent enough, but it will put some later events into a very different context.
Just to start off, I'm not sure why. I mean, like, why are we starting the section off with this video? Because just because she's saying that my life and work and hobbies and passions aren't going to stop stop just because I'm having a kid, I wouldn't say that's interchangeable with I plan on neglecting my offspring. So Freya has her first child in November of 2021, and then announces yet again in September of 2022 that she's pregnant with her second. And Riley's like, and during this time, Freya's channel is getting less views, and she's uploading less often, and I'm just sitting there watching, and I'm like,
She's having a baby.
okay. And
As far as her content, she's getting significantly less views, likely due to inconsistent posting as she's a bit more preoccupied with life and moving and children, etc. But also, it doesn't seem like she really adapted her content and continued doing a lot of the same trends that performed really well in the 2010s, but were pretty outdated by 2022.
like, why are we bringing YouTube analytics into this? Then out of nowhere, we pivot to this documentary Freya decides she wants to make about goths around the world. It's gonna be this large-scale documentary. No documentary has been made like it before. There's gonna be professional filming and international travel and interviews.
On April 29, 2024, Freya uploads a video titled The Graveyard Scene Documentary Campaign. This is a documentary on the worldwide goth scene that Freya announced she would be creating entirely on her own. And of course, she is starting a fundraiser in order to do so.
I've been saying for years that I'd like to make a proper explorative documentary about goths around the world, and thousands of you have said that you'd love to see it. So you know what? I'm going to do it. For the last 10 years, I've been a world's best known goth YouTuber, where I've taken the audience to festivals, events, underground clubs, markets, opened a window on this mysterious subculture to a large online audience. I've visited and filmed in many different countries, and I observed that everywhere I went, the goths were different. The scene in every location reflects the culture of that country, the societal constraints, the socio-economic conditions. We're going to see what goth looks like all around the world. Why are you raising such a big amount here, you cry? It's actually very looking for a large-scale project. This is not a vlog filmed on a rapidly point and shoot. This film will have a high production value and be of Netflix-worthy quality, ideally ending up somewhere like Netflix or similar. You only know me from YouTube, but I'm actually a fully qualified film school graduate with qualifications in film and TV production and screenwriting. This project will be cinematic, well-researched, thorough, visually beautiful, how could it not be? From all funding sources, we're aiming for 500,000 New Zealand dollars. That's about 300,000 US dollars. This amount reflects the total we would need from all sources to ensure it happens. So, corporate sponsors, feel free to get in touch. We're also applying for the very few available arts grants in New Zealand. So whatever doesn't get raised from Indiegogo will be sought from elsewhere, because this documentary really needs to exist.
She does have qualifications in film production and has some experience, so it would make sense for her to do this. But this is a huge project, and according to her, she's doing it all by herself, and this is significant.
And I will say that this is very ambitious, but it does not mean that because she was a little bit over ambitious means that she's trying to deceive us all and get more scams out there. I think that the source really does think Freya was sitting around and she's like, man, my YouTube's not doing the same as it used to. How can I pump more money out of these idiots? I know. Let me scam them again and apply for grants as well and ask for donations, and it's gonna be this whole project. Riley's implication is basically like, come on, Freya should probably have understood that this was realistically not happening. So Riley is asking this question that she wants the audience to be asking, which is this a documentary or was this another scam?
Because this is Freya's most recent controversy, as well as her most recent alleged scam. And I know I've said allegedly a lot throughout this video, but I really need to emphasize that while there is some compelling evidence here, this being a scam is technically an allegation.
At first I'm just like, okay, fair enough. If this ever turned into a legal issue, I get why you would want to keep saying allegedly, allegedly, allegedly every 5 seconds. My issue is, though, what proceeds afterwards. Because Riley gives this disclaimer, and then all of a sudden she's reading from this source. And they talk like, we don't need a trial. We don't need a trial. Let's skip straight to the sentencing. So that's my groundbreaking criticism for Riley here. Riley was like, it's alleged. And then called it an allegation.
Strawberry
and spent
popsicle.
the next 20 minutes reading from a source that sounds completely convinced that it's true.
But before we talk about that, we have to talk about another controversy that goes hand in hand
They just
with
got
this
home.
one, And this controversy
Josh
has
and
to do with
Elliot
her
just got
children.
home.
Because as part of this documentary, it required Freya to travel to different locations to learn more about the goth scene in these particular countries. And at one point, Freya brought one of her children along, her son.
Maybe this unpopular, but my first thought here is, would Riley be saying all of these things right now if Freya was the dad? You know, because you hear about all these people always saying like, oh, my husband travels for work, my husband works away, you know, whereas if a woman were to do the exact same thing, it's like, do you not care about your kids? Freya would later explain that the reason her son came with her is because he was a wee one. You know, he was a baby and he still needed his mummy. He was breastfeeding, which is an important detail.
You could have left your precious son back in New Zealand with his dad and sister and
I brought my son because I was going to be away for a long time. He was still breastfeeding. He was only one and needed mummy. And Barnaby could not have looked after both children on his own.
So the criticism, I'd say, it makes sense when we go into details of, well, was this project planned as well as it could have? People could even argue that, okay, Michelle, if Freya was a man, then I still would say, like, are you sure you've got 3 under 3?
I moved out of the
and
bus.
she apparently
And I have
tried
gotten
to leave
myself
her
a
baby
house.
boy with strangers in different countries so that she could party and film and whatever else.
Okay. When Freya made her video explaining her side, I was shocked by how different Riley's claims were from what Freya would later state what actually happened. Riley was saying basically, Freya was like, hey, any random people out here? I just walking up to people on the street, basically being like, anyone, can you take my kid so I can go out and do this documentary and maybe do a little party afterward? Meanwhile, Freya's explanation was like,
So in order to film Mary Luna, I drove all the way from Glasgow in Scotland to Hildesheim, Germany in one go, pausing to sleep for 2 hours in Dover. I got filming accreditation for Mary Luna, one of only 2 people who granted this permission. I was on crutches. The trip cost a lot. Mary Luna does not allow children at the site. I organised a nice babysitter in Hildesheim by an agency, which had already been difficult, and at the last minute she had to pull out and I was panicking. Without a sitter, the entire journey was for nothing, wasting tons of money. I asked online if anyone knew a babysitter while I flailed about with agencies searching for a replacement. I was not going to fob him off with a stranger. I was looking for an experienced, verifiable, bound-to-work, proper babysitter, not just any random who was available. My son and all my children are the most important thing in the universe to me. I would literally die to save them. No way on God's green earth will I hand them over to someone if I had a flicker of doubt. I did find a great babysitter, 2 actually. It cost me about 600 euros. They sent me photo updates throughout the day. One was an early childhood education student, the other a retired doctor close to my accommodation.
okay, but let's read this explanation from Riley's source, claiming this was the most flagrant scam yet. Flash forward to 2024. Freya now has 2 toddlers with her partner and missed her adventures in Europe. Thus, her most flagrant scam yet was born. Freya wanted an all-expenses-paid trip to Wave Gothic Treffen, a very big goth/industrial musical festival in Germany, plus plans to get 1 split hoard of abandoned possessions out of both Germany and Scotland is expensive. Freya's solution? Crowdfunding a documentary on the worldwide goth community to be filmed at this festival. Freya promised the world to her backers, as well as all kinds of tiered rewards. She crowdfunded enough money to pull off her trip and took her son, leaving her daughter to heal from throat surgery with her partner in New Zealand. Okay, I'm sorry, we're gonna chop this up because let's just zoom in on this. When, you know, Riley says throat surgery and just off the bat, I'm like, yeah, that sounds bad. So Freya's daughter has 2q37 deletion syndrome, which is a rare genetic disorder that can cause a whole range of developmental and medical issues, including breathing and swallowing problems in some children. So when you watch Riley's video, it's presented like this. It's like Freya left the country, despite the fact that her kid had a major surgery coming up. That is a serious accusation.
So here are some of the screenshots that were provided to me as evidence of these claims. This one was a DM where Freya explained her daughter's specific throat condition.
No worries, and then she explains 2q37 deletion syndrome, which, okay, this is Freya saying that her daughter has it. It's not admitting to any sort of neglect. The problem is that when Freya would then explain her side of what happened, it sounds like a different story. According to Freya, she didn't choose a trip over her daughter's surgery. She said that the surgery was moved to a different date. And when complications happened, she was there on the phone as much as she could be, and she was repeatedly told that her daughter was okay.
Your daughter is recovering from throat surgery, and you chose to travel and party instead of being there for her?
I took Severine in for her surgery. We were at the hospital all morning. I wanted to be with her. It got cancelled suddenly and postponed to an unknown date. Months later, it was a very minor surgery. Adenoidectomy, grommets put in, and maybe some tissue adjusted at the back of her throat. Barnaby took her in for it. Long after I'd gone overseas, I was on the video phone while they put her to sleep. It all went fine. During healing, she developed a cold. Coffin caused the surgical site to tear in her sleep. Barnaby went to get her up, immediately called an ambulance where he saw blood and then called me. And I was on speaker on video phone at the hospital so I could talk to all the doctors and nurses and see what was happening. They kept assuring me she was okay, that I needn't worry, but I was losing my mind. She was awake and lucid and hadn't actually lost much blood despite how bad it looked. Do you honestly think I didn't care? I was beside myself. I couldn't sleep. That's my baby. If I'd flown back to New Zealand, it would have taken days, cost thousands of dollars, and made zero difference.
According to Freya, the doctors treated her daughter and released her on the same day.
Doctors told me repeatedly that she was okay. Oh, and she was able to go home the same day. Nothing further needed doing, and it healed up on its own.
Freya's argument is basically, what exactly would flying back from Europe have changed? Because I don't know. First of all, even if she needed to get home immediately, booking an international flight sometimes, it can take days. I'm not sure if you can just say, like, next plane to New Zealand, you know? You call up the pilot even though they're sleeping. I would love a bit of teleportation in our society. But this is exactly why I'm pausing here, because the version Riley is presenting is basically that Freya knowingly skipped her daughter's surgery. Meanwhile, Freya was like, well, first of all, the timeline changed. Now, whether or not you're gonna believe Freya or not, I think it's important context to include before people start imagining Freya looking at her phone and she's like, oh, my child is in surgery? Damn, that's crazy. I hope they feel better. And then you go back to the documentary because Freya explains, that's very far from what happened.
Freya went to the festival and did some shaky filming on her phone to keep the backers fooled.
I would be curious to hear where the source is hearing all of these things. Like on a snark Reddit or a forum? Because surely they couldn't, you can't just make this stuff up. Is it just rumors snowballing? Anyways, Freya said this.
Oh, you mean the hundreds of gigabytes of footage I shot on this cinema camera? I did zero partying, by the way. I went to these events not to go to the event, but to document the people at it.
Actually, yeah, no, now that she says that, I think that if you're gonna do a documentary on goth culture, it'd be weird if you didn't go to one of these festivals. I'm not sure why people were assuming it was purely for entertainment and not for the documentary. This is one of the most, if not the most, big goth events on the planet.
The trip extended well past the festival.
Freya would later clarify that she was traveling and filming for the documentary itself. She says that in 2024, she spent so much time busting her ass and that, yes, the footage exists.
And unfortunately for her son, the funding for the documentary dried up while the two were in Europe. Freya resorted to many strange last-minute tactics to make money, such as live streaming herself asking viewers to pay $5 for her to take shots of liquor while her child cried in the other end of the hotel room.
So, okay, Freya was so desperate for money, she resorted to taking shots in her hotel room for $5. Most importantly being that her kid was allegedly in this alleged scenario, her kid was with her. The way they word it, it feels like there should be some kind of documentation or proof of this occurring. Freya said in her response that, yeah, she did find a stream, but this was in her apartment, not when she was just traveling alone with her kid.
I feel like this didn't happen. If my wee man was crying, I would not have just left him crying. I did drink and stream sometimes. I think someone watching started the "I'll give you a fiver if you take a shot of that" thing. It was a bit of fun because that gin is horrible neat. It makes you go.
Also, I'd argue there's a difference between having a glass of wine and taking a bunch of shots. Also, my question is, did Freya ever say to people that I am so desperate for money, if you donate $5, I will take a shot on stream? Because at that point, Freya proves that she is in her apartment, not at a hotel in the live she's referring to. Couldn't you equally say that this is just somebody having fun on a live stream?
I've never actually been drunk in a stream, and I wouldn't get drunk if I was alone with my baby. I actually found the stream and the bit you're talking about, and guess what? That didn't happen. Okay, hang on, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just going to try and relax Monty. He's just woken up. He screams his head off every time he wakes up. So, 1 moment, please.
Also, side note, $5 shots. Let's say you take 4 shots and you make $20. It's like, I don't know if that's like the quickest, the best, most resourceful way to earn income.
She also made a habit of asking anyone on Facebook who will listen to babysit her child for free. This supposedly worked in a few cases without any known incidents. People who follow her and used to zealously defend her are horrified by her disregard for her son's safety, but this has been hand-waved as judgmental and trolling by Freya and her fans.
At the end of the day, who knows? Maybe some of the stuff the source said was true. My thing I keep coming back to is we have no reason to believe it because we don't have proof.
She also made a habit of asking anyone on Facebook who will listen to babysit her child for free. This supposedly worked in a few cases without any known incidents.
One thing that bothered me a little was that the source kept using the word stranger as if like that is
Golden, don't reply to that kind of stuff.
I mean, this is debatable, but
I'm
I also
underweight
say
right
that
now, so it's very
daycare
clear that
workers
I'm
are
not pregnant.
strangers And babysitters are strangers.
I'm on the low
initially,
side of
so
my
it really
weight.
would depend, in my opinion, on if she just dropped her baby off at any old person's
Just someone
house,
saying
because
something
it's like,
to
I gotta
incite
get
a
to
reaction
this party
out
by
of
this
you
time,
or
or else
me.
I won't get the early
That's
discount.
why you can't
That's
give them what
a
they
little bit
want.
different from going through a screening
Starve them
process
of
with
the
an
attention they so
experienced person
desperately
because you
require.
have work obligations. Freya's response is basically, I really wasn't looking for random people to take my kid. She was desperate and trying to find a replacement emergency babysitter because the one that she had already scheduled had canceled last minute.
I can see how people misconstrue the babysitter thing. So in order to film Mary Luna, I drove all the way from Glasgow in Scotland to Hildesheim, Germany in one go, pausing to sleep for 2 hours in Dover. I got filming accreditation for Mary Luna, one of only 2 people who granted this permission. I was on crutches. The trip cost a lot. Mary Luna does not allow children at the site. I organised a nice babysitter in Hildesheim via an agency, which was all reasoned. And at the last minute, she had to pull out, and I was panicking.
Let me know what you guys think. If you saw a parent post, hey, does anyone know a babysitter? Would you just assume that they're just gonna drop off their baby to any old person? Steve, the first guy who comments.
Without a sitter, the entire journey was for nothing, wasting funders' money. I asked online if anyone knew a babysitter while I flailed about with agencies searching for a replacement. I was not going to fob him off with a stranger. I was looking for an experienced, verifiable, vouched for proper babysitter, not just any random who was available.
Could you criticize this? Sure. You could say that you personally wouldn't want to crowdsource childcare on Facebook in another country. But it's just the framing we have is different. It's like she just dropped him off at a random place and she did extensive checks on this person to make sure they could safely take care of her baby.
This should come as no surprise after she abandoned her cat, and it wouldn't be surprising if she considered pawning off her son as well. This extended trip lasted for months before they returned to New Zealand with increasingly few updates on the documentary. This is why, recently, many of Freya's now former fans are starting to feel ripped off and started noticing her patterns of scamming.
It should come as no surprise, because, I mean, she abandoned her cat. I wouldn't be surprised if she pawned off her son as well. So there's my question is, like, that's a, like, we recognize that, right? Are we good? Are we okay? Now, here I'm going to try to refrain from using Freya as a cheat sheet, because one of my goals in this video is to find out where Riley went wrong, like, in the moment, not in hindsight. And one thing I've noticed throughout a lot of this is that we are presenting assumptions as though they're fact. For example, the source does not say, like, Freya raised money for a documentary and then attended a festival. They're like, Freya just wanted an all expenses paid trip. Instead of presenting evidence, the source really goes off of assigning a motive. And that keeps happening in this section, my favorite being, I wouldn't be surprised if she considered pawning off her son as well. Like, are we confusing Freya with Onision or something here? Because what kind of person, like, you don't even have to be a good mom. You know, it's like just an average mom. Unless our argument is that Freya is this like manipulative, conniving villain. But it's just a little bit off-putting because we have already decided that Freya is guilty before we even started writing. And it just dulls down the actual concerns, because you can say that, okay, the documentary was mismanaged. But the purpose of the source is to separate the facts from the opinions. Because, like, you can have all the feelings you want, but I want to be able to tell the difference between the author's feeling. Now, I will admit I'm not familiar with Kiwi Farms. I don't understand why it's so hard to navigate, but I want to see what these guys were even talking about on there, and someone said this. Sure, but Riley still said in her video that they broke up due to Freya scamming the system, and that's hearsay, so we can shitpost on here, but she's the one who turned it into a monetized video, so she needs to address this point or look like a huge hypocrite who hates women. And yeah, some of the stuff I saw over there was presumptuous. Like, other stuff was obviously, I'm not surprised, straight up mocking. But even somebody on there admitted that this was all speculation. It's like somebody taking locker room talk and then presenting that in front of a judge. Like, on Kiwi Farms, you can talk about whatever you want, even if it's not true, and gossip on there, but Riley was the one who ended up making the source's stuff public. Or it was public, but presenting it as fact. Then Riley reads some screenshots pertaining to this whole babysitting situation.
Wondering if I should try finding a bored babysitter who wants to tag along on our drive to Germany in exchange for a bit of an adventure. And some of the comments, where is your son? Palmed off to a random internet stranger, shaking my damn head. Freya replies, oh, for fuck's sake, children are not allowed on site. He had a great weekend with an excellent babysitter. I wouldn't just give him to some random. Someone replies, look at your past post where you've been asking strangers on here to babysit him. And someone argues, bruh, everyone's a stranger, some are qualified to care for children, which is what she was asking. It's not her job to specify every little detail for your slow brain. If you have kids of your own, then I feel sorry for them. If not, I can see why. I know you said your life isn't going to stop because you now have kids, and that would certainly be ideal. At the same time, it does kind of have to stop, or at least pause when things like this come up.
Riley then goes on to criticize some statements that Freya had posted online. It's a scam, she just wants to party. There are already loads of documentaries like this. Show me literally one. I'd love to see it. She's spending the money on herself. The support and excitement for the documentary project has been tremendous. But there's always that 0.01% of people who will be haters, scoff, and doubt. But they don't realize they're helping too. A message to my haters. Your
Finally
hate
got
only
all of the
fuels me
stuff
to make the film
washed,
even
all of
better.
the
Your doubt motivates me. It gives me a blunter-minded determination.
dishes,
While you waste your life being
stuff,
a negative whiny
it's all
loser,
washed
I'm
now,
putting every
so
waking
my counters
moment
aren't
into
covered.
productivity. It gives me the power to produce the most cracking doco out there. Because, to quote one of my favorite phrases, success is the biggest fuck you. And then this was her replying to someone on her story. A comment saying,
Success is
"Apparently
the
this
biggest
documentary
fuck
will
you."
never happen." We're all very shocked, I'm sure, but at least you got some free tickets to WGT. She says, you don't know where people like this are getting their info from. So here's some stills for you guys doubting to show you I mean business. And this was Riley's thoughts.
Okay.
Alright, let's rearrange the dining room.
You are absolutely not helping yourself by calling the people who help finance your supposed documentary bitches is telling them to fuck off. It comes off as defensive and rude when you could just provide the proof that the project is actually happening and in the works.
Okay, this has actually happened to me before where people try to accuse me of lying because I'm being defensive, when in reality, I mean, seriously, the reason I'm being defensive is because I am mad. And I would extend that to Freya. Like, just because she's being defensive does not prove wrongdoing. Any psychologists out there, feel free to give your input. But it is fair, I'd say, okay, Riley, it's fair to comment on stuff and be like, that was defensive. Riley was like, I think it would behoove Freya to show progress instead of fighting with people. That's a pretty fair expectation for a crowd-funded project. Freya did raise around 13 to 15K US dollars from as far as I can see, which is, it's a lot of money. So I would then understand why some people would be a huge fan of Freya's response. But like, Freya's response also had a point because she was like,
Alright, you dumb then. I never have been a scammer. Why the hell would I compromise my entire career, all my friends, my entire following just for a bit of money and party?
like, seriously, she did have a brain for a long time. Personally, even if you don't care about your business, you don't love what you do making content online monetarily. If you want to continue making income for potentially years unless AI takes over, as opposed to, oh, I just want money now, so let me do this scam and everyone loses faith in me. But just because that's something you should do does not make it worthwhile. But neither is assuming that this whole thing was just a huge elaborate scam. But she's doing this massive documentary. I cannot even wrap my head around it. She has 3 kids, and what's this? At the time when she said she's gonna do it, she had undiagnosed ADHD.
I have flaws, I'm aware of them, I work on them. There are definitely things I should have done better. My only crime is my weapons grade ADHD, and I'm not exaggerating, by the way, that has all but ruined my life. Imagine the worst case you possibly can, and one might say ADHD isn't an excuse. Pretty good reason for every dumb thing I've ever done.
She didn't find out she had ADHD until after the documentary was announced. Which is like, if you had donated, let's say, $100, $1,000 towards this project and you find out that it's been delayed or it's not being made at all because of ADHD, I'm not asking you to go like, oh, okay, then just forget about it, it's whatever. I'm just saying that a lot of the criticisms that Freya has had are actually things that overlap with ADHD struggles, such as taking on huge, ambitious projects and underestimating how long they're going to take you. And then you're like, oh, how am I supposed to organize this? And oh, it's been 2 years, let me give them an update and give you communication. And then, of course, you got burnout. And I'm not trying to say that, like, Freya did X, Y, and Z because of her ADHD. That would be very presumptive. I will say, as someone with alleged ADHD, although I'm still in denial because coffee doesn't make me feel calm, it makes me more wired. Anyways, I love to make my videos as well put together.
Yeah, that's definitely how you know you're not ADHD, girlfriend.
As a viewer is valuable. You could be watching anyone on YouTube and you're choosing to watch my video. So I want to make it as good as it can be. But there are parts of content creation that my brain hates. So sometimes it is easier to, instead of making this elaborate script, just talk to a camera. Anyways, all I'm saying is that a documentary is daunting, especially when you were freshly diagnosed with ADHD. Then for 10 minutes and 43 seconds, Riley reads a Reddit thread about Freya. And we have everyone on there, from parenting critics to where's this documentary? And then we have your mandatory people who just say random stuff like, I don't like Freya's vibe, she's a con, she is absolutely vile. Which I understand Riley reading those comments, especially if everything is verified and true. But a lot of these comments are the same thing. They are speculation.
I also joined the campaign and spent for money and was called a cunt, amongst other things.
This person is lying, he is not a supporter, his name is not among the list of backers. He antagonizes me on Facebook all the time. I probably did call him a stupid cunt because he was getting one. Supporters all got access to a Discord group where they can see what I'm doing. I've taken pains to make sure every single person got a functional invite link so that people not seeing anything or hassling me presumably haven't been supporters.
But let's use our cheat sheet now. I feel like here's Freya's response video about what really happened in the documentary.
2025 was a total write-off owing to troubles with my mother and house, miscarriages, Sebring being ill a lot, my being pregnant and my being in hospital a lot. Obviously, since having a baby and 2 toddlers, I've had no time to do anything else. I picked up the weekend and it's moving ahead. I have said multiple times that it's going to take longer than I hoped.
Oh, the family stuff. So, right, in hindsight, full circle, this makes sense.
I want crew and helpers, but I want to be able to pay them. I busted my ass in 2024 on that project.
Fran's like, I'm trying to get funding and further help to continue with this film. But yeah, it's real. She just wants helpers and she wants to be able to pay them. Then Riley explained, she's like, well, actually, very recently, Freya uploaded kind of a teaser to the documentary unlisted on her channel.
And if it's a situation where she got in over her head, then I think that's understandable. I just don't understand why she wouldn't just say that and then show this teaser.
I have no idea how she got a link if it's unlisted, but I digress. Let's continue.
The defensiveness, the deleting comments, the name calling, that feels like you're trying to deflect and hide. It feels like you are giving validity to some of the claims and concerns people have.
Maybe this is a distraction. But my thing is, we don't know. Maybe Freya was also just like, you know what? I bit off more than I can chew, and let me just show you what I got now. But always, without fail, jumping to the worst possible explanation.
It also feels like this was kind of just quickly thrown together to make people shut up about it. And I'm sure people will argue with me on that and say that I'm like reaching and, that's fine. But I really think we should look at the way she's responded to criticism and her pattern of allegedly scamming people in similar ways in the past.
This actually does sound reasonable to me until you look at what Riley had actually established by this point. It's like she had allegedly scammed her fans in the past, which is doing a lot of heavy lifting because in order for this pattern to exist, you have to establish that all of these past incidents were actually scams. And a lot of the accusations are coming from sources that Riley herself and her source say they can't fully verify.
I have a feeling this is going to be one of my more controversial videos.
Girl.
Although I don't think she realized that she was going to become the main character. It is now time to go back in time to the original controversy that started it all. Our first controversy is in 2015. Freya's YouTube channel is growing, but she's still under 100,000 subscribers. Then, one of her favorite brands offers her an ambassador role, which is a massive opportunity for a creator under 100K. Although while I was doing research, I clicked on a little bit of Riley's link tree, and she has I don't know if it's an ambassador or if she's just getting sent free clothes, but I'm going to start posting more on my Instagram specifically in the hopes of becoming an ambassador. The catch though is getting around to these cool places to be said ambassador, like California or Germany. I don't think they paid for the whole trip. So Freya did a crowdfunding campaign to make that trip happen. And for a while, I'm a little jealous. Everything is going according to plan. That is until she arrived at no less than the UK, and the border control had different ideas.
And don't you dare copyright strike me, Freya. This is fair use.
This is a really quick side note, but Riley played 1 minute and 48 seconds of Freya's video sped up. Now, I'm not saying that that's not fair use. I'm just saying that people are throwing around the words this is fair use, with all the confidence of a man explaining cryptocurrency. You could never be certain that you won't be struck. I think one time I was struck because of an image. There was a while where I had 2 strikes, and on YouTube it's 3 strikes you're out. If you get 3 strikes, your YouTube channel is terminated. But my rule of thumb is that if I believe there is a larger chance that this video might get struck, you would probably try to play less than 15 seconds of the clips at a time. Although I'm not a lawyer. Fun fact, but I was copyright struck by Pecos Bank. I actually got served legal paperwork. I was in Thailand visiting my dad, so my poor mom had to answer the door, and the guy was like, "You've been served." It did get dropped like the day before the hearing though. But no, Freya was trying to get into Great Britain in order to travel around a bit, collaborate with other creators, attend festivals, until this very awkward conversation with border security.
And when I arrived in London, they turned me away at the UK border. Honestly, I thought I was singled out for my appearance. They tried to say that they had nothing to do with it, but I don't entirely believe them. So when I said to the border people that I didn't really know what I was going to be doing while I was there, they treated that as extremely suspicious. They were like, "We don't think that you can support yourself while you're here." And I'm like, "Yes, I can. Of course I can. Like, I wouldn't go to a foreign country for that amount of time if I didn't think I could support myself." And they wouldn't let me provide evidence of anything. They wouldn't let me provide evidence of what I was saying. They wouldn't let me contact anybody. Basically, I got off the plane. They locked me in a room. They interrogated me. They took all my stuff off me. They took my medication off me. They locked me in the room, and eventually they just came and told me that I was being refused entry to the UK, so just left me in this room by myself.
That was a complete disaster. And honestly, I think I would have actually died if this happened to me. As you can see, this was devastating for her, especially as someone who loves to travel. And so her trip was cut short. And on the day she got back, her grandfather also died.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not 100% sure how this relates to our story. Maybe Riley included it because she's like, look, Freya is struggling with entry issues even then, and she's kind of priming us. Or maybe Riley is trying to prove that Freya was like, she doesn't even have enough money to feed herself whilst in the UK. Then Riley describes some drunken shopping that Freya did during her travels.
Freya decides to spontaneously travel to Germany and did some drunken shopping while she was there.
I'm back from a weekend in Cologne in Germany. If you're wondering why I'm in Germany, so I don't know, that's a long story, we'll get back to that another day. Anyway, what I seem to do at festivals is get drunk and go shopping. Probably a bad idea.
For context, Freya was with her then fiance who stayed in her home country of New Zealand, Mr. Owl, or guy number 1. But while Freya was traveling, she and Mr. Owl broke up. And Riley's version of events is, well, let's say it was framed. She framed it in a very particular way.
But the controversy is the circumstances that led to her traveling and Sue completely relocating to Germany. Because Freya decided to leave Mr. Owl and almost immediately jumped into another relationship.
I mean, I don't know what conclusion you guys got, but I don't think outright Riley was trying to say that Freya cheated on Mr. Owl. But we were told, well, Freya broke up with Mr. Owl and she moved to Germany. And then she straight away gets into a new relationship very quickly. Riley says, naturally, going from one relationship to another looks very suspicious. I'm not sure if we're trying to plant the idea in the audience's head that Freya is a cheater, or that Freya is now going to get in a relationship with a German because she wants that green card. I think that's only a USA thing.
Along the way, she was hanging out with another man named Nadius during her stay in Germany, and married him shortly after dumping Barnaby in a bid to stay there through a visa marriage.
You guys said, maybe I'm being that one friend that's too woke, but I think it's insanely disrespectful and misogynistic to say that the only reason a woman would want to get married to another man from another country is to get a visa or citizenship to that country. I really did not like Riley's take on scamming the visa immigration system, especially considering what's happening in the United States right now. It felt very tone deaf. She's weaponizing misogynistic and anti-immigrant talking points to knock down another popular creator to get some clicks. But my thing is, what evidence is actually being presented before us for any of these conclusions? We've got timing, okay, I'll give you that, and then appearances, but also like,
Heather!
it's just speculation from the source.
screw out, so hopefully it'll go back from here.
Trying to make me look bad, gossipy people just comment something to couch. It started to suddenly appeared on Facebook and next week let people make assumptions. And unfortunately, people love to assume the worst rather than being filtered out. Since first round and I had got together as we've always known where off the travel and spend time living overseas when he was 16 and idiot. We don't know about possible compromises, but
Oh my god, it has wheels?
on every situation and other variables. Travel is one of the most important things to me. I've always felt this unyielding, insatiable, wanderlust. And if I can't satisfy it, I just get miserable and trapped. It doesn't keep up with it. A couple of months ago, I found from the to generally and American needs so many I love you always in person. I had the time of my life and I couldn't remember being happier. So after I got refused entry to the UK and posted back to New Zealand, I was devastated. Back in New Zealand, I was truly miserable and some around me could feel the radiating misery vibes. Mr. Al told me to just go. Because he wanted me to find a way to be happy and hope we could figure out a way to make it happen, whether it involved being a him in the future or not. I couldn't really afford planes yet, but I was like, and just took one way to Germany, as one does. Where I had so much fun and such a good experience. I had plans what I would do once I got there, but that's just how I roll sometimes. Now, what really surged is that I had a new relationship not too long afterwards. Naturally, going almost straight from one relationship to another looks very suspicious, but it wasn't. It didn't help that I'd been friends with this new person for a few months.
Oh, come on. Yay, they're all here.
I must have been secretly seeing this guy for a while and chucked Mr. Al to leave with him. That is definitely
I'm just saying that, like, I'm not really feeling the definitive proof that could be used in a court of law about relationships. My thing is, if I were to commentate at this, well, we can't really confirm any cheating rumors, obviously, or any scamming allegations. But there is one questionable thing, which is also just like, okay. Freya said, I couldn't really afford the plane ticket, but I was like, screw it, I'm booking a one-way trip to Germany. And then she follows it up and she's like, well, once I get there, I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do. But that's just how I roll sometimes. But at worst, is that not just an impulsive decision based solely on sugar, spice, and everything, emotion, and optimism? But to be fair, I think it's kind of lit that Freya was like, I'm laying my cards out on the table, you guys. A lot of people, when they're retelling stories, or at the time, they would kind of edit stuff out to make themselves look better. Like, Freya could have said, you know, I actually did have a plan. Everything was perfectly calculated. Whereas Freya was just like, well, I couldn't afford it. I didn't have a plan. I bought a one-way ticket. Like, if nothing else, is that not refreshingly self-incriminating? Would she make the same decision today? Maybe. Maybe not. But even so, I wouldn't say that's a cancelable offense. It is not a crime to make a questionable life decision. But Riley agrees. She's like, okay, that doesn't affect me. I mean, I apologize to any German taxpayers. The problem Riley had, though, was that Freya, according to Riley and her source, took this money that Freya had raised all the way back when she was with guy number one, Mr. Owl, because they were supposed to have this massive Tim Burton style wedding, and Freya was gonna live stream it if you pay $2.50. And that was watch it. going to try to refund people for the live stream.
I'm from Southern Germany. Dave to come here, but the last year is the one that's festival and comments and others really anyone supposed to step out, but I've been forced to make this video because the network will be failing, rumours and gossip and stuff. It's ridiculous, and those people really need to go and find lives of their own.
When I'm watching Riley draw these conclusions, I'm like, well,
You
some
gotta go
more than
find
others.
my
I'm like,
tablet.
no, I see where you got there. I feel like that might be what's happening here. I do think it's completely jumping to conclusions, but I get how the source came and got to that conclusion. You have a creator asking for money for a wedding, and then the wedding gets canceled. Then the creator in question moves to Germany and starts doing drunken shopping. I mean, I get it that it's kind of like filling in the gaps. Like we're here at our conspiracy board with red string and pins. But if that's all you have, I'm gonna let you in on a psychology tip. The human.
Okay. You can't remember which way I'm supposed to turn it. This fucking thing is heavy as fuck. Can't let you miss all the fun. Truth over here thinking how there's some kind of big defender over here while calling you a fucking defender. Pretty interesting. just ripped my fucking fingernail off. My fingernail got hooked somewhere in that fucking trampoline. This white notch on my fingernail is where it was bending. And whatever it was I grabbed on was pulling here and pushing here. So my nail was like literally just like completely, when I looked at it, it was bent all the way back. Jesus fuck. I've asked literally 2 people to come over and help me move that fucking table by myself. Now I'm doing it by myself. Because I've been waiting for 2 fucking days for someone to come help me, and I can't wait anymore. I'll throw that fucking thing away. Are you flipping, flapping me? It's literally calling me stupid. There we go. Easy and smooth. It's always gotta be some fucking bullshit. I know. Nothing can ever be easy for Heather. She always has to work extra fucking hard to get what she wants, while simultaneously having people throw fucking tomatoes at her. But that's okay, because fuck everybody. I'm way stronger and more capable than all you fucking cunts. Sometimes I just really rather not be the strong and capable one. Like, I want to be able to, like, just feel like, oh my god, and rely on someone else to do it for me, for fuck's sake. Cool. Now you can't see the fucking water heater. Alright. Oh my god. All right. Don't argue. Renee, do not argue with fucking retards, okay? Do not argue with retards. Nothing you will ever say is going to change their mind. You're literally wasting your time. You're wasting your precious energy getting yourself like even slightly worked up. Do not let them steal your joy from you. Fuck them. Let them fucking cry about what I'm doing all they want. They're just losers. They're losers who are sitting on their fucking computer, or on their couch, or on their phone, or whatever. They're losers sitting on their phone criticizing someone whose doing something with themselves. That's what makes them so sad, is that they are like, wow, look at this girl, she worked all fucking day long and now here she is fucking busting her ass, and I literally haven't even moved off this couch one single fucking time. What a piece of shit I am. Fuck that girl, those wheels are ugly. You know? So you literally cannot give them your energy because they will take it gladly. You want to go outside and go potty? I've been waiting for you to go potty all day. Come on. Right here. Go potty outside. Go. You gotta go outside, you gotta go right there. That's where we're gonna go outside. You're not going out the front door. What? You want cheese? Is that what you want? Cheese, Tex. The cheese, Tex. Did the kitty hear the cheese, Tex? The cheese, Tex. The cheese, Tex. We got big cheese, Tex. Yeah, nice try, cat. Oh. Oh. Oh.
One of the men who helped build America's rocket program spent his nights trying to summon a god. That's not hyperbole. That's not metaphor, my friends. That's Jack Parsons. He co-founded the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and he was a devoted follower.
So are you talking about the Parsons, Adam Parsons project?
The wickedest in the world. In 1946, Parsons and a young L. Ron Hubbard, the god of Scientology, ran a ritual to manifest a being into the physical world. Shortly after, a red-haired stranger appeared at his front door, fresh from her own UFO sighting, but all of it pointed back to something stranger. An entity that Crowley said he contacted and drawn in 1918. A bald, huge-eyed face that looks exactly like the alien grays we recognize today. Decades before anyone had ever described one guy. Now let's go ahead and pause our favorite song, Shave 'Em Dry by Lucille Bogan, and let's talk about the non-stop psyop. Episode 2, coming at you live. Not really. Welcome to the podcast, though, my friends. This is not really a podcast. This is just a video on my main channel. That's, I just talk more in it, and I cut less out, pretty much. And I also talk about stranger, more bizarre stuff that I would never ever rationally be in a main channel video. So, today we're going down the deep dive of this guy. Before we go any further, flick that like button and pinch that subscribe button like you pinch and flick the nipples on your titties as big as the end of your thumb.
Yes, Kat, if you go in the refrigerator,
I really
you can totally
appreciate you guys
escape.
watching. Aleister Crowley was born Edward Alexander Crowley to a wealthy fundamentalist
Oh my God,
Christian
that's
family
fucking
in
delicious.
1875. His family owned a lucrative brewing business called Crowley's Alton Ales. Crowley had a strained relationship with his mother, who early on in his life gave him the name The Beast. a name he would grow to love and adapt into his life and later. His magic. His parents were evangelical fundamentalist Christians, and Crowley would be sent to the evangelical boarding school H.E. Haversham in Hastings, which sounds like a made-up...
Oh, did your dog hear the cheese duck song? Sorry.
This was followed by Igor Prep in Cambridge. And yes, I'm still speaking the same language, and yes, those are just places in Britain, alright? My fellow Americans. Dr. Pepper, water, Twilight Fusion.
Yes, they are, Rick,
Sour
very
Boys,
much.
energy drinks.
Everybody's so happy to have, like... I got cereal!
Also, I think this is out now. We have Rocket Pop sour gummies available for a very limited time only. Put them up before the 4th of July, but go to sour.gg. If they're sold
Ooh, and
out,
I can
there's
have some
plenty of
fiber.
really interesting stuff. And we have, honestly, so much planned for Sour Boys. I've talked about it many times, but since we're on the podcast now and we're a little less trying for time, we haven't made money since we
When the
started.
cheese
Obviously,
comes
that's
out,
what
this
money
puppet
into
comes
business,
a-looking.
3 years
The
or whatever.
rules are the rules, and the
It
facts are
was
the facts.
almost profitable. It was basically profitable on a P&L for our balance sheet, but June has been our only month in which we have had weekly we've been in the black, which I'm not like saying that to brag or anything, but I put everything into this business, and my wife has supported this dream for me and my friends and family and her friends and family, and we haven't had to give up any ownership to anybody corporate or anything like that until this point. So we have control, we can do whatever we want, and we can have fun and do, you know, as much cool stuff. I mean, look at the art on the site. It's just so, everything is so expensive, and it's really difficult to do things in a cool, unique way now in business. And, you know, I just am incredibly, eternally grateful to you guys for allowing it to be a reality. And then, obviously, incredibly grateful for the support from my wife and her helping run the business, and then my friends and family who do customer service, fulfillment, and all that, logistics, and making of the candy and stuff. It's really cool. I'm very grateful, and Sour Boys is a genuinely awesome thing that I love. And we have cut no corners, and we still have a lot further to go, obviously. We want to build a thing. We want to build basically where we're at, we want to build a huge Willy Wonka facility where you guys can come and watch us make candy. We also want to have a drive-in movie theater on the property with a concession stand where you can get Sour Boys, and also Thrice. We want to start a food truck where you guys can come, watch movies, do a tour with the Sour Boys factory, and I don't know, just a bunch of really cool stuff. Also putt-putt, mini golf, because where we're at, there's nothing to do. So yeah, we really want to do dope shit like that. And the only reason that would ever be possible is because of y'all. So support the channel, go buy some candy, and that's really all I ask of you. Hopefully we don't have any more ads on the
Damn
channel.
it, I just
All
cleaned
this
the
stuff
floor,
will be
dog.
very soon, now that the business is profitable. That's
You
what
came in
we're
here
doing.
laid down.
So,
Now it's shit all over the floor
died
again.
of tongue cancer in 1887, and Alistair inherited the family's wealth.
Hello, in
After his
Croatia.
father's death, he would bounce from school to school, becoming increasingly critical of Christianity. Perhaps as a result of this, he would go against Christian morality, and he would embrace things like sex, sexuality, and other vices, like talking to aliens and stuff. Magic. His love of prostitutes would result in his contraction of gonorrhea and eventually syphilis. So, you know, during the later part of his life, we for sure know that he was a valuable, trustworthy source of information. Not at all, and not at all contaminated mentally by diseases of various kinds and severity. By 1894, Crowley had found a love of chess, poetry, and mountain climbing. His mountain climbing record included climbing Jungfrau, Monk, and Wetterhorn of the Bernese Alps, all strange European names. Earlier this morning, I was sitting out on the concrete outside my home, and my dogs were obviously crowding around me, bothering me. I was trying to meditate. And P ran in front of me. I had my arms like this, basically. Not that I was like crying, but I was Slav squatting, and I was just chilling. And P ran up, put her head underneath, like my hands and my chin, and then ran back away. And then moments later, I opened my eyes, and there was a little shit right there. She ran up to me and just shit on the ground. It was insane. But Somehow pretty cute though, and very funny. Biographers Richard Spence and Tobias Churchton took the stance that Crowley was a spy for British secret services and he was used to infiltrate certain groups during his life, which makes sense. In 1895, Crowley had adopted the name Alistair, which is the Gaelic form of his name, and he had enrolled at Trinity College in Cambridge. While at Trinity College, he studied philosophy and then changed to English literature. Basically, he went from one useless thing to the other, right? English lit majors and philosophy majors. That's what they tell you, but now if I had kids and they wanted to work on Wall Street, I'd be disappointed. Anyways, I'm learning more as I get older. It's really strange. Aleister Crowley would embrace chess. By the way, I'm not condoning Aleister Crowley by saying that. I think that I was being facetious and sarcastic. Most of the things that I say are not true. They're meant to be sarcastic and funny because it's so absurd to say those things. I like English literature and I like the study of philosophy. You don't only have to study business stuff to be good and make money at it, just so you're aware. Aleister would embrace chess, becoming the president of the chess club, as well as poetry with his own poems appearing in multiple publications. He would continue his mountaineering, resulting in his feats being recognized. While on holiday in Stockholm in December 1896, Crowley would have his first mystical experience. He would awaken one night after an illness, claiming he had a revelation that he possessed the power to call forth the imminent deity. Some biographers believe that this was Crowley coming to terms with his bisexuality and allowing himself to be true to himself for the first time. He would start engaging in same-sex activities despite their illegality at the time. In 1897, he would begin a short-lived relationship with Herbert Charles Pollitt. In October of 1897, Crowley would fall ill once again, and this time he would truly question his life up to that point and make the decision to dedicate himself entirely to the occult. And Crowley's relationship to Pollitt would end due to Crowley's growing interest in esoterica. He's a very odd, strange fellow, it turns out. Too odd and strange for Herbert. In 1898, Crowley obtained the Book of Black Magic and of Pax and the Cloud upon the Sanctuary. He would leave Cambridge without a degree. Crowley would be introduced to George Cecil Jones, member of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, which is really awesome. The Hermetica, the idea of there being many secrets, Thoth, the Emerald Tablets. There's a lot of people now who are kind of re-spouting off that form of belief, and it's really interesting to me. Who's that guy that got clowned by Wes Huff last year, 2 years ago? I forget what his name is, but he talks about like how everybody's God and stuff. Hermes Trismegistus, I don't know how to say the name, but I read the Hermetica, and I've done a lot of research on the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and it all seemed, all these groups seem like boys' clubs, to be honest. You don't really have to give anything up. It's just like, yeah, we believe something that makes life way awesomer and a lot more easy. It's pretty epic, dude. Either way, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was that era's most influential secret society of ceremonial magicians, alright? We still have that now, but it's like the Skull and Bones with Yale and just in general, Congress, you know? We have ceremonial magicians right now, it's just called the Congress. Before the end of 1898, Crowley would be initiated into the Outer Order of the Golden Dawn by the leader Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers. Richard Spence and Tobias Churchton would attest Crowley was inducted into the Golden Dawn primarily to monitor Mathers, a suspected Carlist. Carlists, by the way, were supporters of the Bourbon dynasty in Spain, which is like not that important. Now it's kind of irrelevant because it's all pre-World War I. Europe was very complicated into World War I, and if the Balkans could just get along, we would have a lot less death. To be honest, if they could just figure out how to get along. If they could form one big state, they would take over Europe. Crowley would quickly be integrated into Golden Dawn and invite Alan Bennett to be his personal magical tutor. Bennett taught Crowley about ceremonial magic and how to integrate drugs into magical rituals. They would engage in Goetia, more commonly viewed in European sorcery as witchcraft. Bennett would later lead this to be the first Englishman to be ordained as a Buddhist monk, which is pretty hilarious. Crowley would later purchase Boleskine House on the shore of Loch Ness. This house would later be owned by Led Zeppelin's Jimmy Page. Oh, crap. I love Jimmy Page so much. I love Led Zeppelin, but the more you learn about the heroes of the 60s and 70s, the more you just don't like them. unfortunately,
Yep.
because of all the things, all the rotten things they did. But they still made good
Yep.
music, I guess. And while Crowley quickly progressed through the Golden Dawn, he was
Plus,
unpopular in the order due to
the older we get and the more we learn about how all this stuff is like more real than we ever gave it any credit, we realize, oh shit, so wait, those mothers against heavy metal were like right?
Other ceremonial magician because of his sexuality. I don't know, it's just it's just a funny idea. Ceremonial magicians being bigoted to one another.
Leave my devices
He found
alone.
initiation into the group's inner second order, but he circumvented this by visiting Mathers directly, who admitted him into the Adeptus Minor grade. Under Mathers' orders, Crowley tried to
Alright, well I guess I'm gonna skedaddle. I pretty much haven't stopped moving since like 5 this morning. I woke up, went to work, busted my ass, immediately came home and started cleaning my house. So now that I'm done,
they're actually nothing like the myth. Well, they're kind of like the Mythic Dawn, I guess.
now that I'm done doing all of that,
I'm
gonna go lay down in my bed.
of the Mythic Dawn.
So, the cat's paw of the septum arrives at last.
I love Oblivion so much. Rest in peace, Terrence. One of the greatest voice actors to ever live. One of the greatest games to ever be made, to be honest. But anyways, the rival London Lodge took it to court, and the ceremonial magicians had a whole court fiasco. Because that lodge paid the rent, the judge ordered Crowley and Mathers out. Our buddy Spence reads this whole thing differently, though. Crowley only looked like Mathers' loyal enforcer, but the real aim, Spence argues, was to drag Mathers into a losing fight and quietly wreck his authority. Exactly the kind of double game you'd expect from a planted spy. Very interesting. After his isolation from the Golden Dawn in 1900, Crowley would travel to Mexico to get some of that birria. That's what he kept saying. He wanted to get that birria. He was like really obsessed with birria tacos. They're good. They're good. They're all the rage right now. Spence would claim that this was under orders to find oil to fuel the British military. While there, he further experimented with ceremonial magic. This time, birria tacos were his primary medium. He integrated the Enochian invocations into his magic.
Okay, so like I don't want to be alarmed or
In
anything.
1902, he would begin a friendship with Gerald Kelly in Paris. And after becoming a fixture of the Parisian art scene, he would
But if I wasn't mistaken, that's not a spider. There's just something hovering in the air.
Career-defining magic thelema. This is very important to keep up. We'll put some images on the screen to help kind of get you on the right understanding of what this is so you can have a visual, but if you're listening audio only, good for blood. Remember that night in the pyramid I was talking about a little while ago? Well, something crazy happened, and both Rose and Crowley tell slightly different stories. But on March 16, 1904, Crowley performed the Bornless Ritual, an ancient rite of self-purification and god summoning while spending the night in the king's chamber of the Great Pyramid of Giza. Rose, who had no real belief in any of it, fell into a trance. 2 days later, on March 18th, Crowley invoked the god Thoth, and through the entranced Rose came a name, Horus, the one waiting for him. That same day, Crowley took Rose to the Bulak Museum in Cairo and asked her to find Horus. She wandered a museum full of artifacts she knew nothing about and walked straight to the right one. Horus on the stele of Enka Effen Kansu. I don't know if I'm saying
Alright, well,
correctly, but it's on screen here if you guys want to try to
got fucking spiders maybe? I don't know.
Just like what dear old mom used to
I'll
call
get it with a
her
rag later.
little
Okay, good night.